you're making that argument against
he's not going to change policy.
Her policies. But when Donald Trump comes to Georgia, a state that he needs to win, and he's going after Marty Kemp, Governor Kemp's wife, because she didn't vote for Donald Trump. He tried to get her husband fired. I mean, you talked about David Perdue. He tried to get Kemp fired and said his career would go down in flames. I mean, is that helping Republicans win Georgia?
No, I think the best way to win Georgia is for Governor Kemp to align with President Trump, take his ground game and give it to President Trump, focus on the dangers of a Harris presidency. Again, we're reaping what's been sown for 4 years. We've got to stop these policies. They're killing us at home and abroad. So I expect, and I'll talk to Governor Kemp tomorrow, and I'll let you know how it goes. I hope we're united in Georgia. We can't afford to lose. The best thing for Georgia, if you love Georgia, and I live in South Carolina, and I love my friends in Georgia. The best thing for Georgia is for Donald Trump to be president of the United States and fire Kamala Harris.
But don't you think you should talk to Donald Trump and not Brian Kemp? Because it seems like this is all coming from Trump.
I talked to both of them. I talked. So you know, he's obviously upset that Kemp didn't support him. Kemp was upset that he supported his opponent. I get that. That happens in both parties. But we have a historic opportunity as Republicans to win the White House, the Senate, and the House. And let's take advantage of it. And God knows our country needs to change direction. There is no hope for this country if she gets to be president of the United States. She's proven time and time again she has bad judgment on things that really matter to the average person.
Senator,
so
that's an interesting...
let's get united in Georgia and everywhere else.
It's an interesting point you make there, because obviously you don't agree with Vice President Harris or the Biden-Harris policies. No one's surprised by that. You're a Republican governor from South Carolina. But I'm listening to you. Every time I ask you about what Trump has said about Kemp, you're talking about Harris and her policies. Senator Tom Cotton did the same last week when we were talking about what Trump has said, questioning, you know, when Harris turned black, as he put it. He kept turning back to her policies. But why are you and Tom Cotton doing that, but not the top of the ticket, Donald Trump? Why is your candidate not doing that?
I'm very direct. Well, I hope he will. I hope that what we'll have after this is all said and done is some unity in Georgia that's lacking right now. It's not in anybody's interest for us to lose Georgia. President Trump has a historic opportunity to change the course of the nation and the world at large. I think he's the right solution to the problems that we face at home and abroad, but you got to win Georgia. The best way to win Georgia is for Trump and Kemp to kind of bury the hatchet and move forward. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow night. I'm going to do my part to see if we can get everybody back together and focus on the real enemy here. And the real enemy politically, our political enemy, not our personal enemy, are the policy choices of an out-of-control liberal Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
That was Lindsey Graham in one of the more strange and confusing interviews I've seen from him lately. Incredibly awkward and unable to answer the questions from Kaitlin Collins asking, why won't you just tell Donald Trump to stop attacking other Republicans when you know that it's going to hurt him? And not that I'm some big fan of Brian Kemp. I'm definitely not, but it seems politically smart for Donald Trump not to be attacking the popular Republican governor of Georgia while he's trying to win that state. And Donald Trump's rally in Atlanta was so terrible this week, so off-putting to voters and the crazy things that he said, which Lindsey Graham knows, but it was such a bad rally that some Republican officials in Georgia think that rally alone might cost Donald Trump the state, which is just so incredible. And it's the thing that Lindsey Graham just can't bring himself to say because he's so afraid of Donald Trump and so in the cult of MAGA. He can't bring himself to say, Donald Trump, just shut up. Stop talking. Everything you says backfires. Everything you do is unpopular. All of your policies are bad and everyone dislikes them, and especially your new running mates policies. But Lindsey Graham can't say that because he's so afraid of Donald Trump. And even though sometimes when Lindsey Graham thought Donald Trump was politically dead, you know, right after January 6th or in 2016 when Lindsey Graham thought that Donald Trump had no chance of being president, those were the times when Lindsey Graham spoke the truth about Donald Trump, how destructive he's been, how divisive he's been, how damaging he is to our democracy. And of course, Lindsey Graham has walked all of that back because he's so scared and he wants to be a part of the MAGA cult. But it just goes to show the lack of character that Lindsey Graham has. And it's led him to a place where he's not only disliked by anyone with common sense, and of course that is everyone in the Democratic Party, but he's also disliked by Republicans because he's called out Donald Trump and then walked back those comments because he wants to be embraced by the cult of MAGA, but they don't like him anymore. And here's a perfect example of that.
Another man who's always there. He's always, I'll tell you what, when I need help on the left, he's great. He's great. And he's my friend, too. Lindsey Graham, wherever you are. Lindsey, thank you. Oh, no. He helps me on the left. We need help sometimes.
This is the life that you've built for yourself, Lindsey Graham. Going to Trump rallies where you expect people to be giving you high fives and clapping for you and cheering you on. But even when Donald Trump says your name, you don't even have to be on stage. The crowd boos you. You just heard the boos raining down when Donald Trump brought up Lindsey Graham, and he kind of defended him. He said that Lindsey Graham sometimes helps him. You know, it wasn't like a full-throated defense from Donald Trump because obviously he enjoys Lindsey Graham being mocked. He likes the people who are subservient. He likes to see them embarrassed and humiliated because he wants to have power over them. And that's clearly what he does over Lindsey Graham. But it's just so embarrassing that this is Lindsey Graham's political career. One in which really everyone dislikes him, and they should. Not just because he votes in favor of bad policies and supports Donald Trump, but it's because he has no spine. He lacks character. It's the same thing that we see with J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is someone who spoke the truth in 2016 when he said Donald Trump was dangerous, when he said he could be America's Hitler. But now he's walked all those comments back in favor of advancing his career. I actually saw a comment from someone on one of my videos calling J.D. Vance, J.D. advance his career at any cost. That's all he cares about. And that's all that Lindsey Graham cares about. No matter how many tough questions he's asked, he can never answer because he's too scared. And a great example of that came the other day, and I want to check it out.
You want to make this about policy, and that's a fair point to make as a U.S. senator. But in recent weeks, former President Trump on his social media has been amplifying calls, circulating posts, calling for televised military tribunals. That's his phrase that he amplified on his social media for people like former Congresswoman Liz Cheney. You say he's not going to be on a revenge tour, but he's been posting on his social media about not only taking revenge, but having televised military tribunals. And you're someone who has served this country in uniform. Do you agree with his push and amplification of those proposals?
Here's what I know. I know we're not going to have televised tribunal trials of Liz Cheney or anybody else. Here's what I do believe. I do believe that the country is at an inflection point. This is the most important election literally in decades, maybe ever.
Lindsey Graham talked about Donald Trump after January 6th and said, I'm out. I'm done. I saw what happened. I can't do this anymore. He had been backing Donald Trump since he won the nomination, really almost since a couple of days after he sent the famous tweet of, if we nominate Trump, we'll get destroyed and we'll deserve it, which turned out to be true. Donald Trump tried to destroy our country and our democracy. But ever since that day, Lindsey Graham has pretty much supported Donald Trump no matter what. Even though on January 6th, when his life was on the line and Donald Trump was doing nothing to protect it, because he doesn't care about anyone but himself, Lindsey Graham has still fallen back in line. And so it's so incredibly troubling when we see the people who are in the cult of MAGA and they've always been bought in, that they exist in the cognitive dissonance, that they know that they don't know what they're doing is wrong because they're just so caught up in the cult. But I think Lindsey Graham does know it's wrong. And that's why that interview with Kaitlin Collins was so confusing to her, because she knew he wanted to say that Donald Trump should just shut up, but he wouldn't do it because he's so scared. He knows what's right. I think he does, but he just won't say it. And that shows you everything you need to know about Lindsey Graham. Afraid to speak the truth out of fear of retribution from Donald Trump. And that is why the Republican Party is the way that it is, completely falling apart, because their candidate is terrible. He is trying to destroy our country, and in doing so, he's destroying their party. And I'm fine to see the Republican Party burn. It can go away. But hopefully Donald Trump goes away with it. Hopefully that's a package deal. When Donald Trump loses in November, it brings down the Republican Party with him. Boy, would that be a joy to see. And if you are looking forward to Donald Trump losing and you enjoy these videos of us calling out MAGA hypocrisy, and especially people like Lindsey Graham, make sure, if you have not already, to hit that subscribe button to join what we are building on this channel. And if you like these videos, make sure to leave a like. It really goes a long way in boosting what we do. And If you want to add a little extra bit of support, since you're here already, you can click that join button and become an exclusive member of the show. Become a monthly member. The support really goes a long way in this new and growing channel that we're building and would mean the world to me. And until next time, I'll see you soon.